All of this has been dealt well with by Bart Ehrman in his Corruption of the Orthodox Corruption of Scripture, a very good book. And so all the modern translations do not have God who, they have he who. Now the difference in the Greek is extremely simple and very clearly points to the fact that some overzealous scribe, it's very easy to turn os, which means he who, the Greek omega, sigma, os into theos. You simply put a line in the os, you turn it into a theta, and you get theos. God was manifested in the flesh. My backing for that would be that all modern commentaries see that. You need to have the Metzger standard text on the alternatives. The apparatus underneath gives you the relative importance and likelihood of various readings, and that one is discarded, I think, by all scholars these days. Jesus is not God in the New Testament. You can look in the Metzger's standard text, and he has a commentary on the New Testament differences also, and he rates them as an A, B, C, or D. And this one, if I recall, is not rated highly at all. It's very unlikely that Jesus is being described as God was manifested in the flesh. No, he who was manifested in the flesh, that's Messiah, of course, seen by angels and so on, justified in the Spirit, and then was taken up to the right hand of the Father. All that's clear. Now, if you want to argue that Jesus is an expression of God in a human being, of course, that's absolutely right. The word, little w in John 1:1, the word showed up as a human being. And you will note then in John 1:5 that the light is neuter. It's a thing. Light is not a person. When you get to verse 10 in John 1, the light has marvelously become a human being, afton, a masculine, breaking the rules of grammar, if you like, in verse 10, to show that the light has now become a human person. That's beautiful. Jesus is what wisdom, what word became. But once you read the Son back onto that preceding wisdom word, then you've created two in the Godhead. And that led to centuries of furious argumentation, excommunication. I think all unnecessary. Greek philosophy does not belong in the realistic, simple truths of Scripture. Huge issues here, but why not think of Jesus as the Son of God precisely because of the miracle worked in his mother, Mary? This is very easy. And again, these are huge issues because of the division that's been created by the Trinity between ourselves and the Muslims and the Jews. So our cry is, we're certainly not originating anything new here, why not get back to the Founders' Creed? The words of Jesus matter. That's where we start. Unlike Coral Ridge Ministries, the late James Kennedy said that many people think the teaching of Jesus is important. That's not so, he said. In a Truth Note some years back, he said, that's not so. What really counts is that God came and died for you. I think in the South we would say it doesn't get any worse than that. It is absolutely misleading. The teachings of Jesus matter because the standard by which we are going to be judged, Hebrews 5:9 says that salvation, a high tension word, is granted to those who obey Jesus. Why isn't that a John 3:16? It's a fearful complication under the excuse that we had to express all this in terms of Greek philosophy. I would leave Plato out of it. The Church Fathers admitted, the so-called Church Fathers, by the way, the Church Fathers should be Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but the pseudo-Church Fathers, philosophically minded Church Fathers, had to reconstruct the creed in terms of Platonic ideals and forms and so on. That was a disaster, as Canon Googe once said. That was a disaster from which we have never recovered. We need to get back to the teachings of Jesus and his creed.